All right. Let's go ahead and get this live stream started. I think we had a pretty good week with the new rewards that came down on the vendor, and we got ourselves triple Mogo acorns. And I was so excited about the styles that I went ahead and hurried to make a video. Obviously, it's easier to make a video when you got some good styles that kind of drop down the pipeline. So that was really cool. I was glad to see that we finally got some more stuff for like the Sorrow lanterns, so I could actually make a pretty decent one, which is also in the latest video. With us now kind of like getting into like Christmas, so you have a lot of people that are, making like Christmas and Santa styles now. So I think that's pretty cool. I think we had a pretty strong start for the week. And I see a whole bunch of people creating, like Killer Crocs, and they're making Saint Walker like I am, or like I did. You have Killer Croc, you have Archillos, you have all those different characters running around now at this point. I even saw that Snowy Owl on Discord. He tried to make like a Venom character. I think sadly there aren't too many face styles that go out far enough to work with the head style, with the Vorian head style, which is basically Archillo's head style. There aren't many face styles that will go that far out to be able to look like goggles to kind of make like the Venom look. But the teeth on the character are really nice. Me and a league mate were talking in chat about a day or two ago, and what we were really looking for was the ability to make Atrocitus. I think it's a long time now, a long time taken now that we should have an Atrocitus head style and face style combo, and I mean like a real one. Like the one we have is like okay, but it's not really, it's kind of weird. It's got like the weird cap thing going on, and then the hands have like the little nubs coming out where it's kind of like part of his hand. I feel like we can do better now. And you know how you have like the Scarecrow head and the face combo thing? They should allow something like that before Atrocitus. I think that's something that they could do. Let's take a look at chat here. Welcome Bazoo to chat. He said, "Love your style. Got inspiration from you to make Gray Lantern. Can you make your Gray Lantern style with white comic material, please?" Let's see here. So I figured out that the detective chroma works really good for the face style and has almost the same color, but it gives you the glow on the eyes. So I ended up using that. I haven't imprinted it onto an armory, so I'll have to remember just to do that. Go ahead and print that in. But if you were asking about shaded comic, let's scroll all the way down here. Here we go. Change that to that. I think that's a good style, like that. You could use the same colors. I think the only thing you tweak is that the boots are like really dark. I think so. It's number 2. Okay. Because I had them lightened up as it is, but for them I'd probably go a little brighter, so I'd go halfway so that the color's a little more consistent with the chest style. Maybe I'll go right there. I think that's perfect right there. I think that's good. Obviously you're going to have to change the hands to number 3 to get a good decent color so that they all match. That's what I would do. And then face style, obviously, use that. Is that too dark? That's too dark, so we'll go a little lighter. So there you go. That's what I would use, and then do the white for the eyes. There we go. That's what I would do. So only one I would change would be this one. So it'd be 60, 60, 60. And that would be for the feet because the material on them is very dark, and then also the face style. So that's what I would use. You don't have to go too far off the beaten path what I have in my great. So if you go to my latest video, you'll see some short video details. And you'll see one for every single character. Go to the one of the character that you want to make. It'll give you all the details. And on that second color, you'll just change it to this one. And you should be good to go for making the Gray Lantern. Everything else should stay pretty much the same. So I believe the hairstyle runs off of the third one. And yeah, this is all you need. I think this is still very close to the color that I already had. But for me, I like this. So it's going to be much brighter, much nicer in my opinion with this. But you can do shaded comic with that if you would like. Let's pan out a little bit. But that's what I would use. Yeah, so you don't have to go too far off the beaten path. You should be just fine with that. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We got some friends hanging out. So we got Claire Green. Looks like they're doing some sort of a black lantern. Let's go ahead and check it out. So it looks like we have a zombie thing kind of going on. Very nice. What did they sent me a message here? They said, awesome, Gray Lantern. I need to work on mine when I get the accessory. Yes, the accessory is really nice. I really like the color of it. It wasn't too dark. I was afraid it was going to be a little too dark, but they made it like a nice silver. So that's very nice. And then the if you ever kind of get confused about the like the color of what Gray Lantern should be, I went up to one of them and kind of took like a screenshot, and it seems like they don't have like a very dark like black color like the other lanterns. So it goes from gray to gray. So it's like a slightly grayer gray than the other one that they end up having. And if you get confused, like you can look at the color of the emblem, and that'll kind of give you an idea of what sort of a gray you want to kind of go with. And I kind of went off of that. And then I just made a slightly darker one. So it should be very close to the NPCs in the game. Obviously, if we had one that was standing as like an NPC or something like that, it would obviously be easier to compare. But, since they're like, they're a faction against us, we're fighting them. You can only get so close before they start attacking you, right? But all in all, I think this is a pretty solid style for that until we have that opportunity. But I think it came together really good. And glossy material for the win. But you could always use shaded comic if you wanted to. Let's look here. Let's see if there's anybody that catches my eye. Let's look here. So we got like Killer Waylon Jones. If you do not know who Waylon Jones is, whoops, sorry. Meaning to inspect. All right. Waylon Jones. See, I got myself talking, and when I start talking, I goof up. So Waylon Jones is the identity of Killer Croc in the DC Comics. So when they say Killer Waylon Jones, it's just his actual name in the comics. So there you go. Let's see here, and then we've got. Let's look at the other Waylon Jones we got over here. See how well he did. When I made my Killer Croc. Oh, wrong Waylon Jones. Let's see. It should be the one. Okay, this one right here. This should be the other one. Okay, so they were very similar, so that's what threw me off guard. The bracers that the other one used is what I used in the video. I used the prisoner pants though, and I did use the same boots. It just made sense to me. All the other boots didn't quite make that much sense. I did use the ultimate back like the first one. That was a natural choice for me, but like them, unlike them, they use the reptilian skin. I use the ultimate skin. I was going for more of a rough reptilian look, and to be honest, I try to not use the old skins anymore. They're not that very good. I wish they updated them, but it's, I don't know, to me it's almost a little, I don't know. It's like I don't like using the old skins. I'm trying to get away from using them. That's why you won't find me using them much in any of my videos. I feel like they're just super dated. They need an update, like a bad update. They need something. And then so we got Ultraman here. Waylon, Killer Waylon asks, will the werewolf feet would work? They they will work. Um, I just felt like they didn't have enough to them. But you could use the werewolf feet. You could, yeah. I just feel like there's not enough to them. Like for my outfit, I wanted it to be like a prisoner suit, and by more the more I was making it, the more if it resembled the Arkham Knight series Killer Croc. So it wasn't on purpose. It was more like by accident. It came together, and I'm like, oh wow, it actually looks like that version. Oh okay, yeah, it's looking a lot like him. Um, so that's kind of where how that kind of came about. And then we got ourselves a Orange Piccolo here. By the way, I love the character of Orange Piccolo. I thought they did a really good job. My boy Piccolo's finally got himself some love there. So he could be competing somewhat in the power levels again. I was really glad to see that. Good for Piccolo. Now they just need to get. Now they just got to get my boy Krillin and some of the humans some sort of a power up. That'd be nice. That's Nyx that I'm looking for. Yeah, they need to give the humans some love. Get them up into that power scaling or somewhere close. And then we got Nyx. I'm guessing from like the River Nyx, so they are probably part of like the Death Realm or something. I like the cosmic on the different runes. I think that's cool. If I was using that on like the accessories and stuff, I'd probably use something different for the chest and legs to give it a little bit of contrast to the runes. But otherwise, it's very nice. The aura's great, very nice. And then we have Z Goku. And then of course, this reminds me that I made the Majin Buu style in my latest video, and I really enjoyed that. So now you can actually have a pretty legit looking Majin Buu. I thought that was really cool. Let me see if I can pull that style up. I did end up changing the style a little bit from what's in the video. Instead of making the eyes red, I ended up just turning them black. And it seemed to turn out really well. Let me see if I can remember what I put it under. Did I put it under 1 or let me see here. 3 is the prisoner. 7, so it's either I'll try 9. No, it was this guy. Okay. Let me do number. So it's on my tank armory. I used the numbers on the keypad on the side keypad. All right, let me go ahead and put my flying ring back on, and he's got his biomech rifle because I'm rifle. There you go. So yeah, so I ended up changing it to where his eyes are black because it's like, yes, it's red in some of the areas, but it's like the pupils are red, but most of his eyes are black, and I feel like this head style doesn't have glowing eyes, so the red eyes don't really pop as much as I really wanted them to. So I ended up just changing them to black, and they seem to work out really well. So yeah, so you can have a legit Majin Buu kind of going on, some Majin Buu detail. But yeah, Little Red says, I'm Killer Waylon Jones. I based my suit from the Arkham games. Yeah, so it was very similar. Yeah, yeah. That's accident or not accidentally, but unknowingly, I guess I was basing mine off a lot of that too, without really realizing it. Then we have another chatter in chat that says, you should try to make a Nathan Brooms Gray Lantern. I have seen the character. I don't know. I might make a version of him or try to make him. I thought his costume was kind of all over the place, so I'll have to take a look and see if there's, like one singular one that like they've kind of chosen to kind of go with, because I know he had like a lot of details that were kind of changing. But I'd love to make a style of him. somebody else was asking on one of my videos, like, hey, would you revisit doing like a Sinestro style? Because I did like a inspired one like a little while back, and I would love to. I gotta just take a look at it. The only thing that's not great is that I would have to change the whole head style thing kind of going on. I'd have to change a lot of the style because, unfortunately, we don't have a legit Sinestro Core chest style that's like long sleeve. So the only one we have is short sleeve. So I would have to like black out the skin that I have, and then use a head style to like kind of fake, his head style, which would probably be the I'm not sure. Let me take a look here. It most likely be the Bostonian brand head style. That's probably what I'd end up doing. But it's like facial hair clips with it a lot. And I mean, it looks good sometimes with it clipped, but other times not so much. Let me see here. Bostonian brand. And then I use I know I use the slicked hair. The slicked with like the mustache. Let's see here. Goatee, mustache. See, the mustaches really just get destroyed with that. I don't know if I'd be making a great Sinestro core with that. Because I use the Sanguine Ritual skin, and then I use where is it? Untamed Brows. So it's like, I would probably use something like that. It's just weird. The head style kind of clips through facial styles, and it's like, it's a blessing for some things, and others it's not great. So, or it's, Sinestro with the short sleeve Sinestro Core chest style. So, and that doesn't quite look right either. Or you have to use that Mystic Energy chest style, which has, stuff going all the way down the arm, which you really don't want. I kind of wish there was, at least, if you're not going to do chest style, do like a long sleeve like bracer hand style, that has, like a sleeve that goes all the way up the arm, and then it has bracers at the end. That would, be a good substitute or something. But they kind of chopped up the Sinestro Core uniform, which I really wish they didn't do, because now it kind of screws over the villain players that want to do a Sinestro Core style. I remember when I was on Multiverse's channel for like the Let's Talk or whatever, they asked me, they said, what Sinestro Core, I mean, what OP item would you want? Like, what style? And I told them it was a Sinestro Core, a legit Sinestro Core chest style. And then, I was like, it could have an effect to where it has like it could have an effect where if someone attacks you, somebody attacks you, it gives like a, it's like the same mechanic as like hard light or something, where it like makes the enemy like fearful or in hysteria or whatever it is. It'll apply like that effect to them like every so often. It'd be like a CC, maybe do a little bit of damage or something. The chest style, it could be something that just procs every so often. That's kind of what I wanted. Because it's like, I think that's the thing we're in the most need of a style, because the other chest style is kind of not really an option, or if it is, you're really trying to change around your whole style to do it. So it's not great, but I try to work with it the best I can. And then we have Undone Raven over here. I like the little cape. I'm not sure about the chest and the legs. Maybe if there was like, maybe if they had like a void on it and it was like a purple, or they, maybe something like that like darken that and have this the same color, and then you just see the brooches and the back piece. But otherwise, not a terrible style. Just needs a little bit of work there. Let's zoom down over here. So we've got it looks like X-Men over here. So you got Bobby X. And then you got Telekinetic, which obviously is Jean. And then we have, I think we already saw the Hulk. I think we saw him last week. Yeah, so we did see this. This was his Planet Hulk. Let's see. And we've got Lord Samael. Or Samuel. With the nice glitter wings kind of going on there. I like this suit. Very, very classy suit. Very nice. Yeah, it, like, if I had to, like, make a classy character with, like, a suit, that's what I'm using. Just very nice. So we saw this one, I think, like a week or two ago. Drakion made it. Alright, then we got Mark over here. So not bad. I know a lot of people end up making this part blue. And then they'll add like the emblem to kind of make it look like the colors are connecting together. Not bad. I like how they use the Crown Prince of Crime, or Clown Prince of Crime hands, and then they colored the tips of it like a flesh color. That's the great thing about the glossy finish and the wet paint, is that it looks like actual like flesh color. So it's great. It matches really well. You can't really do that very well with the shaded comic. That's why I feel like glossy material has a leg up on that. It's just not as, you know, cool with like the shading. But for me, the shading is the problem because I feel like the shading sometimes is a little too much, depending on where your character's facing. So it could like black out the whole costume without you wanting it. And for me, it's like when it comes to like making videos, I don't want to turn a certain way that, I mean, I want to turn a certain way that looks great, and I don't want to be like inhibited by, you know, a really dark, I don't want to be inhibited by a really dark like overcast of shadows from a material on an otherwise good style facing in a really good area. So, you know, I don't want that restriction. I'd rather get rid of that and not worry about it. That's why I don't use it too much, because it's kind of just a problem when it comes to styles. Very nice. So we got another user says, what chest, legs, and head and face do you suggest to look good for a Killmonger style? I really had to take a look at that. I don't really mess around with the with the Black Panther styles much, to be honest. So I'd really have to sit down and like look at the source material and see kind of what he uses and in that kind of thing. I'm not very big into like Black Panther characters, so I'd really have to, you know, kind of look at the source material there. It you know, like, to me it's like I'd rather, like, I'm more of a Iron Man, Thor kind of person. It's like Black Panther's good, but it's just not my sort of a character. Yeah, I'm sure it's cool in a lot of things. It's just I like the technology of like Iron Man. I think that's cool. So we got Brielle over here. Very nice. I like the simplicity of this look. I like the gold amongst all of like the silver and like dark iron. I like that. Very nice. And you got like little light blue on the belt. That's cool. Swap DCUO says US or EU. This is US. If this was EU, I would definitely throw it on the thumbnail so that there'd be no confusion there. But for the most part, if I'm out here checking out styles, it is the US. If I were to do this on EU, there would probably be like 3 people here, if that. The EU doesn't have many people, you know, like, they don't have a lot of players. I know they have some, but when it comes to you know, like checking out styles and going into main HQs. Very few amount of people, so I have to kind of hunt around and see people. They're not like localized in like singular areas, or you know, so it's much harder to do that. So this isn't the EU. If this was the EU, something had to be going on that day to draw that many people in to even be in this area. Like, for this to be the EU at this time of day would be insane. They just don't have those kind of numbers, or at least not, you know, not readily available at any time of the day. You know, they're kind of more scattered across different maps and whatnot. Let's see here. So we got Popstar over here. Let's check them out. All right. I mean, no materials. I mean, the colors aren't bad. I feel like there could be a little more to it, a little more pizzazz, a little more something going on with it. So we got ourselves a very green style going on here. I like the hair. I think the hair and the skin go well together. Not sure about the pants. I mean, they're kind of nice. You know, they're a little on the you know, the fancy side, I guess you could say. It's not bad. I like the sun goggles. Not sure about the accessory, but it, you know, at least it's green. It goes with it, I guess, right? Let's see. Who else are we gonna look at? I think we got Viltrumite Cal. Let's take a look at them. So, I mean, this isn't bad. I think the wings are really nice. If there's a character I really need to make, it's Bleeze. I need to make a style for her. I'm sure there's like a chest style now that works well for that character. I just haven't done her in a little bit. But we'll have to take a look at that. I think that's one of the only like main like Red Lantern characters I haven't made. That's at least in like the game, besides like Vice. It would be cool to get Vice's like head style. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, he's Mr. Banana Head, and we have really nothing that's that close to that. Like, I think the last thing that they were using to try to make him was like the try to find him here first. I think I'm scrolling all the way down and I shouldn't be doing that. There we go, Jake Sully. They were using like the Aegis of I'll have to take a look at the style in a second here. I think it's Aegis of Eternities or something like that. Should be up further. Or maybe, yeah, Aegis of Eternity. They were using that for Vice back in the day. I mean, that was basically the best that they could get. Let's see here. We got Rogue Patriot. Kyra, how's it going? He says, Iconic, what's good? He said, the wings for Bleeze are a collection. Yes, they are. They are, I believe they are the, trying to find them here. I know they should be at the end. Here we go, Remnants of the Martyr. That's what it is. Yeah, the great thing about knowing a lot of the styles is that you can always kind of like I kind of have a photographic memory of where in the pages they kind of are. Like, I kind of feel like, oh, I think it's kind of like later on in, like, you know, the alphabetical lineup, you know, like I can kind of get a feel for it, like how far back it is for the most part. So that's kind of cool, because sometimes the exact like wording, you know, I kind of choke up on that and I won't remember in that moment. So it's really cool to kind of, you know, still kind of get an idea of what's going on there. The one thing that I noticed with the Necron hands, take a look at this. They didn't name the hands Death, which I think they should have, because so the head style is named Death, the waist style is called Death, and the hands are called Necron. I think they kind of dropped the ball with that, but that's a minor gripe, you know what I mean? So it's not crazy bad, whatever. But then take a look at this. This is where my true gripe is. Check this out. You got the death vest right here, right? Look at that. The hands go over this a little bit, but they clip here. Clip right here. And this part doesn't even go over the old version of the shackles. Look at that. It doesn't even go over the style correctly. I noticed that and I was like, what's going on here? Like, somebody really dropped the ball on this. And the thing is, they measure these styles based on this character. This is the main character that they start on. This body type is the main one that they start on. And then they will mesh and fit it to the brute characters, the small characters, whatnot. But this is one of the main ones, you know, the main one for the male characters. And they couldn't even get this one right. To me, this is just kind of sad. Like, I thought it was going to overlap. Here's what I would have done. I don't know how hard it is, but they should have made it to where this would cancel out the second one if it was too hard to fit it over. They should have made it to where it would just cancel it out, like remove it, you know? It would just remove that one that's sitting here. It would basically like cancel it out so that you'd only have one representing and showing up instead of having to fit it over the other one. But that was kind of disappointing. Yeah, the death hands really aren't so I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I made that Necron short. Now they got the hands. I was like, do I need to make another video of the update? And then I looked at the hands and how they interacted with the chest piece. I'm like, no. I don't need to make another short. I was like, no, mine's still better. I was like, I don't need to make a short on it. You know, no need. Mine is still better. Because, you know, the hand style just makes it worse. So, funny how that is. But, yeah, you got Blue Lantern Superman here. That's kind of cool. But, yeah, so that's what I kind of thought of it. I thought it was going to be really nice, but I was like, man, how are they going to do it? I was like, man, they could goof this up pretty good. And they did. They goofed it up. So, and I was like, okay, you know, it is what it is. It's like, they didn't get the name right, and then they didn't fit it over that hand style right. So I was like, you know, okay, you know, it is what it is, you know, like, you know, it has its uses in other styles. So I'm like, hey, I'll take it. It's fine. It'll still be great for other styles, which I did use it, end up using it for the Killer Croc. But at the same time, I was like, you know, you can't even use it for the character that the style is named off of. You can't even use it for that because it's not going to even look right. It clips into the other shackle, but it clips into it, and it doesn't even fully cover it. So and it's like it halfway is like on the other shackle, so it's like clipping into the other one pretty bad. So yeah, so no change for me to have to change that, you know, or make another updated video or nothing like that. So I guess that's, you know, a little less that I have to worry about. Then you have ooh, I use these boots for the Juggernaut. Nice to see they use those. So it looks like Bobby X is making his Juggernaut over here. Very nice. The hands I use the other boots. No. I'm thinking of the Bane or another style. There's another style I'm thinking of with I'm thinking of the Hulk. I'm thinking of the Hulk style I made that use these. No, I use the Spindrift hand and feet. That's what I was thinking of. Never mind. See, all these different styles are like drifting into one another, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I use that. No, I use it on another one. So we got Dr. Victor Von Doom over here. Kyra says, yeah, they totally dropped the ball. Yes, they 100% did. Same here. Oh, I got a scythe and everything. Yeah. Sounds pointless to buy the Death Hands if we have the vest already. He says, is Death's belt worth it, or does it clip too? The death belt does not clip with the chest style, but it might clip with different leg styles if you use like different ones. And you if I don't know if you've seen my I don't know if you've seen my video. Let me just go into my styles. So with the death vest, so I was used so for my Necron style. I'm not gonna make the whole thing, right? Because I don't want to spend that much time on it. But let's just do the death vest. So you got this right here, right? And then you got the death belt. Got the death belt. See, it doesn't clip into it. It's actually pretty good, right like that. And then the legs that I ended up using, I first used the Wizardly, and then I was trying out the new Amazonian style that we had got that day, and this is so much better. So that's what I ended up using. So you've got the death vest, and then you have the absolute Amazon legs, and then you have the death belt like that. That's what you use, and you should be good to go. So that's what I ended up using for Necron. And then of course the same feet style, the Riddler feet style, they're great for that. I ended up using like the silver material on the feet style or something like that, or chromatic metallic or something like that. So yeah, the belt's worth it. The belt, I mean, it's a little wide, but it's made that way so that it doesn't clip into the chest style, which I totally get. Like, that's what I thought they were going to do with the hand style, make it just a tad wider and maybe a little bit bigger so that it would fit over the old one. And I would have been fine with that. Make it a little more chunky. Like, I understand why you're doing it. If you can't have it cancel the like the part of the chest style out with the shackles, if you can't cancel that out, make it a little chunkier so it fits over, the old version. I mean, I think a lot of people would be fine with that if it's just a tad chunkier. Like, you could double or even put like another third of the width on there just so that it covers it correctly. And I think most people would be like, okay, cool. And I think a lot of people wouldn't even know the difference, to be honest. So that's probably where I would have went with that. But I don't know the challenges of making hand styles, in the file. So I don't know anything about that, but I feel like that was probably something that they could have gone with if it was that kind of easy to make, or if that was easier to do. But yeah, that was the only letdown. I mean, other than that, both of the head styles were great. I thought the head styles were awesome. Here, let me flip back here. But yeah, I thought they were awesome, the head styles. I think they did a good job. Yeah, I thought they did a great job with those. I was really happy with that. I even saw somebody make a Jim the Earthworm style. I think that was also Snow Owl. I thought they did a good job with that. So I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, obviously I didn't make a style like that because it's like I don't really know the character too well, but I still knew him enough to kind of see him. But I thought it was kind of funny at the same time. Not bad. But yeah. So that kind of opens up the doorway to getting better alien head styles, which I would like that to be Atrocitus. I think it's a long time coming that we finally get his head style, and his face, with all his teeth and all that. I've wanted that for years. Hand style would be nice as well. But I mean, we already got the shoulders. I don't think the shoulders need to be remade again, to be honest. I don't think we need to be going down that route again. But I think the hands and head / face need to be redone. I think that'd be cool. Finally get a legit Atrocitus head style. I think it's about time. We got Winter Soldier over here. So this is like the old Winter Soldier. Like when he was actually bad. Yeah. There you go. Nice. Yeah, the hairstyle works well with that. Let's see here. Yeah, Kira says, yeah, we need a good face style for Atrocitus. 100%. Yeah. What's up, PPZ? How's it going? Chosen says, which style could I recreate on my main tune that uses hand blasters? I would either say like Cyborg, or if we're thinking Marvel, like maybe like a Miss Marvel or like an Iron Man or something like that. I think that would be like the main thing you could probably go with. PPC says, it doesn't Greek styles below your feet. I didn't even realize those were Greek styles. I didn't even, like, I kind of passed by it. Like, you've got the Greeks down here, then you got Grecian over here. I think I'll just do like a walkthrough real quick. Iconic, can you use the King Shark hands for a decent Atrocitus hands? Sadly, the Shark hands do not look anything close to the Atrocitus hands. The Atrocitus hands are still slightly better than the Shark hands. The Shark hands would be like okay for like a Saint Walker. I could see that, but not really for Atrocitus. Like Atrocitus, like look here. Like you've got Atrocitus hands, which are a protege of the inversions. These are Atrocitus hands, and just show all the color slots, right? So if we kind of color it like Atrocitus, there we go, like that. That's Atrocitus's hands. That's how they actually look in. Well, that's how this part looks in game. This obviously is wrong. You're not supposed to have nubs on the knuckles. He's got like receding holes in his knuckles, which are different from them just sticking out like that. I don't know why they did this. That's incorrect. I would even take a style where they removed these little nubs and just added circular indentations. That would be better. So that's Atrocitus hands, and then you have Shark hands. See, so Atrocitus hands, Shark gloves. See, they're totally different. And the Shark gloves go way too high for Atrocitus. His gloves cut halfway. They shouldn't be going all the way up to the elbow and past. That is well, like elbows right here. It's going way past the elbow. That's a little much for Atrocitus. He doesn't really, use that rather. Now you could use this for like Super Boo. I just like the other gloves better because they show the veins in the hands, where this is kind of fish-like. You know, you can't see the open palm area. I like the open hands. You can kind of see the veins from it. Little more, I don't know. Little more creepy / booish. It looks better. And then you've got all the Grecian characters. You got Hades, Poseidon, Kronos, Oranos, Persephone, Melino, and then you got Oceanus or Oceanus, kind of going on there. All right, and then we've got Heath Bar over here, and it looks like they've got their sort of Gray Lantern going on. I think they need to get a little more dark gray in there, but I think they're on to the right thing. Let me go ahead and just pop on my Gray Lantern. See, so it's like I think they got the light gray pretty close. I think it's the dark gray that they need to get a little closer with, but I mean, other than that, I think it's pretty good. Let me put my ring back on and see what I was using for the face style. I ended up using the, let's see, Detective Neon Vinyl. I think it was the last one. So, and then I added white. There you go. It looks great. You got the glowing eyes, and it matches like the gray. Actually surprised me. It matched really well. I didn't even have to recolor the gray to match it, so I thought that was cool. We got Billy Kaplan. Let's take a look at him. Kyra said for my Gray Lantern, I use the Nightmare Aura. I was thinking about that. Let's take a quick look at this. So we got this going on. I was thinking of that, but here's the problem with that. Let's see. If I remember correctly, the Nightmare Aura has red in it. See, that red for me is a no-go. I don't like having the red in there. Yeah, for me it's like it shouldn't be having red. We don't have any gray auras in the game. I mean, you could technically count like the black smoke because it is kind of like a really dark gray. But like the only other gray auras you have in the game are, let's see, you got the gray with the GRAY, which is right here. So you got the gray smoke aura. And then you got the gray vapor aura, but it's only the head hand. So, you know, and then you'll see this other version is also just head hands. So you got the gray nimbus right here. Then you got the gray plasmic. And then that's it. Where for me it's like I'd rather have something that kind of looks like gray or like a grayish rain look. So for me it's like the white smoke kind of fits that a little better. That's why I use the white smoke. It's just kind of got that rainy like atmosphere, like almost grayish whitish color to it. I like that better. That's why I use it. Just because of that. The red in the Nightmare Aura is a little bit too much of like a turn off for me. It doesn't fit what I'm looking for in an aura. I would probably consider it if it didn't have the red. I'd probably consider it, yeah. But you know, that red's just a little much for me. So you got a Clark Kent right here. Let's see what else. You got a PPZ sporting his bald spot on his Namor. The material I would use instead of what he's got on here. I mean, this looks good. This looks good. Don't take me wrong. This looks good. But what I would use besides that is I would use. Let me just do briefs right here, so I can kind of give you an idea for it. So you got the briefs, right? We'll do it on the Void channel. Let's see, should be Royal. No, it's down further. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it was like Sea King or something like that. Maybe I passed it. That's what happens when you got a crap ton of materials. I'm just looking and I'm like, man, where did it go? It's got to be down at the bottom. It's got to be down at the bottom. Undersea, there you go, Undersea. That's what was throwing me off, so we'll put it on this channel. You know what? I think I probably would use the green, the other green one, because I mean, the briefs make the scales on this like super small. So I guess I would use the other green thing, because at least you can see the scales. Where I didn't think of it. The scales are like turned down like super low. So instead of using that, you would use the green hex, which is that. At least you can see kind of like the scales that are going on with it. So I totally understand it. Yeah, I get it. I get it. The Poseidon from the Greeks looking like a neon decaying white shark carcass. Let's see here. Welcome to chat, Ned, Danny, and Ghost. Let me look here. I don't know why it put your comment in review, Danny. All right, it's I'm gonna read it. Danny said the Greeks look trashy, cheap, and poor. Just honestly never gave Greek. Maybe if the devs gave ocean pollution and street filter, it would be fitting. Kira says the little red lights, they are in there. Ned says segmented flex suit comes from the Flashpoint mission duo. Kira says understandable, thanks. Wonder how the Thunderstorm aura would look. The Thunderstorm aura would look good, but then when you're in combat, you have electricity around you for like no reason. But I mean, the white aura and the Thunderstorm look basically identical for the most part. Danny says the Poseidon looks a mess, OMG. And then Ned says the Grecians look so good back where I love their take on the gods. Ghost says she's kind of cute. Ned, your mug is there. Danny says Poseidon from the Greeks. Yeah, I already saw that. Debating between different materials for my undies. Just catching up on chat here. So everybody's arguing about different Poseidons. Kira says I use a bioluminescent material for my Namor briefs. Ghost. Oh, Jinx, welcome to chat as well. Yeah, I'm just catching up over here. Everybody's just exploding with chats. So we've got Apocalypto Sin, who's got his own Saint Walker kind of going on there. It's not bad. I feel like his eyes need to be blacked out so so it gives a little bit of contrast. But he's not terrible, not bad. Maybe they're still working on him a little bit. I feel like that blue aura is a little too bright blue, where you need to kind of get something that's like maybe like a mid to dark blue. I feel like if it's too bright blue, it doesn't look right for the Blue Lanterns. And the funny thing is, it's crazy to me because they weren't really consistent when it came down to the color of what the Blue Lanterns had. Like in this game, Blue Lanterns have like a darker aura, have like clothes that are on the like darker blue side. But then again, like the weapons that they're selling in the marketplace, from like years ago, they're like a bright blue weapon. Like it never made sense. Like they didn't know what colors they wanted them to be. So I felt like that was like a major inconsistency for like the Blue Lantern colors. They just never could never nail down the sort of blue that they wanted. But that's kind of what I feel. It's like they couldn't figure out what they wanted for that. Let's see here. That metal girl. So it's not bad. I'm not crazy about the goggles or the belt or the boots, but I do like the head, back, chest, and legs. I think that's a good foundation for a style. So let's see here. We'll have Princess Diana over here. Try to zoom in close to that. Let's see here. Man, there's so many people over here. I think. Are they not near here? Nearby. There we go. I was glossing right over their name. So this isn't bad. I feel like they could probably have a material on the hands to kind of make it look more like a flesh tone, especially for like the boots. I think that's kind of something that's needed there. What else? I think there was some other style that really, or a name. It was named Cheaters here, and MorphX. Let's look at MorphX here real quick. So I don't know who this is. Maybe y'all know who this is, but I think it's a pretty nice style to start off with. So not bad. And then we got Cheater over here. I gotta go ahead and find their name. They used to do a pretty good style. I was scrolling by and I saw their name. Are they still here? Yes, they are. So this looks kind of cool. I like this. It's got like an Omega thing going on. They've got the Star Sapphire thing kind of clipping with the head style. Very nice. I kind of like that. Yeah. I like the mech suit with like the cape on. That's nice. And then we have Infinite over here with black with Black Yakuza over here. Let's see here. Infinite. The emblem's not bad. I kind of like that. The waist isn't terrible. I mean, this is overall an okay style. It's not bad. Not bad at all. Kind of just general what you'd expect for the most part. And then we have the man beast over here. So he's got his Arkello style going on. Very nice. The only thing is that I believe Arkello has red eyes. So that's the only change I would do. Yeah. Alright. Had a sneeze going on there. Alright. Let's see here. Let's see who else. Because I think I'm going to go ahead and dip down a few phases. See if we got anybody over there. And just check it out. I was glad to see that Man Beast did an Arkello. Because I haven't seen anybody else do an Arkello in the game. Besides what I went ahead and did. Alright, let's go ahead and drop down. Well, figure of speech. Drop down when I'm able to. Here we go. Oh my goodness! Everybody's having a fight in chat about the different Greeks going on here. Wow. Said no, the Greeks are sloppy. Check out the Grecians; they're so good. There are still people in this game. Let me see here. Now you have to pick Poseidon, OG Poseidon, or LLLLI Poseidon. And then somebody says, why do the Greeks have entire alphabets in front of their names? More like the Greeks. It says, what is the Greeks? I'm confused. They're the Gurkies. Iconic simulation. You need to decide which Poseidon is better. Hello? I will decide. I'll decide when I go back to the first phase. Yeah. I'll go ahead. I'll pick the best Poseidon. How about that? We'll pick the best Poseidon. So we got Black Cat over here. This might be a really good style. Let's check it out. So it's not terrible. I like it. I think the hand styles were a really good choice. I think the feet were a good choice. Not crazy about the clipping in the chest area. Little risque going on there, but you know, not terrible. And then we've got Babe over here. So this isn't bad. This isn't terrible. Not bad at all. And then we've got Galam, something like that. So it looks like they are a fire character with a lot of metallic going on. Not bad. All right. And then we have Aqua over here, and then Spectacular. So you got your Aqua water character going on here. I like how this kind of looks like bubbles. The antimatter suit looks like bubbles kind of going on. Not bad. And then you got Spectacular over here. So they've got their Star-Lord style going on there. Very nice. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and I don't think there are gonna be any people in the last phase, to be perfectly honest. Not sure I want to drop down to it if there is. Am I finally out of combat? Yes, I'm finally. I'll try this anyway, but I don't think there's going to be anybody here, to be honest. Or if there is, it's like one person maybe. No, not even a person. All right, that's cool. That means I can double back and we can take a look at Poseidon characters. since that is the consensus of the chat, we'll go ahead and do it. Just give me like, I don't know, I guess like a minute. See if I can get this to open up. I gotta use my trigger finger. It's all about timing. Get in there quick and quickly hit the enter key and hopefully you get in. There we go. We got it. Chosen says, which back piece should I use? Should I use a cape or some sort of tech? I would use the tech piece. 100%. That's what I would use. And they said, what start? That Starlet's was dope AF. What was his name? Star-Lord. I do not remember. I think it was a Spectacular. Spectacular from High Output, I believe. Yeah, Spectacular. I don't think it had like any substitutions in the letters, but we'll see. So we've got. So okay, so we're gonna take a look here. We've got the first Poseidon over here. So you've got Poseidon over here. Okay, so the best Poseidon that I find, I'll throw it in the short. I'll do that. So you've got the first Poseidon right here. And then you've got... What other Poseidon do we have? Let me see if I could just go down the list. Maybe I can see it without trying to look over a dozen heads. So you got, we already looked at that Poseidon. Well, I don't see any other Poseidons here, guys. Yeah, I don't see any other Poseidons here. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure his style is good, but I don't have any others to compare him to. Maybe y'all are seeing something that I'm not. He ran OG wins by default. No, I mean he's got to have some competition if he wants to win. It's not automatic. That's not how you do it around here. So you got one Poseidon here. Got all the other Greek gods. I don't see any other Poseidons. It's not a contest if you only have one person show up to compete. See? I don't see any Poseidon there. So I'm gonna take a look at a few more styles here, and then I think we'll call it. I see we got some a B style and a Steve Rogers. Let me go ahead and quickly look at them. But yeah, I'd like to take a look at the multiple Poseidons, but if they're not here, I mean, I don't know. I do not know. So I like this. I like the Steve Rogers. Just looking at this immediately, I know this was a really well-made style. I think this is like his earlier suit in like the film. I like it. I like the bagginess of the pants. How the boots work really well with it. They don't clip through the the pants. You've got like the really nice gloves. They have nice textures to them. I think the shoulders are good. They work well. And of course, then you've got the face style with the head style. I think that was a really good. A really good like combination of different styles. Very good job. And then you've got McCoy, who is B style. So this is not bad. I'm not crazy about the material being on the hair though. I don't know. I don't know. Having Kevlar hair, man. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so somebody said put him up against Oceanus, 2 water gods. Alright, we'll go ahead and we'll do that then. We'll do that. So we've got How about this? How about this? I'm gonna make this interesting. I'm gonna make this interesting. I don't want to cause a rivalry between these guys, but I think I am. The best Greek god that I find here, I'll throw him in a short. We'll do that. We'll include everyone. So everybody that's here, I think we'll take a look at them and we'll look at the best one here. Okay? So we've got Typhon here. I'm not crazy about the old skin, but I kind of get why they're using it, but I'm not crazy about having the old skin. So, I mean, Typhon's good, but I'm not sure I'm down with that old skin. We got Oceanus here. I'm kind of liking like a weathered skin. That's kind of cool. The bracers kind of give it like an ancient feel to it. It's not bad. I feel like maybe there should be a little more bright colors, or a little something more. I feel like that needs a little more pop. Then you got a Melano. So this isn't bad. I don't know. I'm not crazy about the style. I mean the colors used. I'm not crazy about the colors. I feel like they don't work well together. You got like the green and orange and a really like dark black. I'm not sure if I'm like crazy about that. And then we got a Persephone over here. I kind of like this. I feel like the purple could be a little more vivid and the gold to try to match the phoenix. I feel like there should be a little more gilded going on here, or something that's a little more showy that will bring out the accents of the legs. I feel like these legs could really shine a lot more if there was a lot more detail put into them, or I think the colors could be slightly better on this. I like the head style. I like that they used the phoenix material. I feel like there was much more need of a flashy appearance from the phoenix. I feel like if you're putting the phoenix on, like the legs should be flashy to match it. And the chest style should, like the gold should be a little more vivid to match the phoenix. I like the ears and like the head style. That's not bad. The hair was a good color. And then we'll look at Poseidon again here. Poseidon. So this is pretty good. I feel like I don't know. I feel like either the legs should be white or the tunic should be blue. I feel like there should be some sort of a connection there. Like if you were to think of this as an actual suit, how would he put it on? Like, is this like part of like a sash that goes up and around that he clips together? Like, how does that work? That's the only thing that I'm trying to figure out. Like, physically, how does that work? That's the only thing. Sometimes it's better to black those things out and use like a void if you're not 100% sure how that would fit in together. So you got Eros over here. So this is kind of cool. I like this. I'm not crazy about the color on the tattoo. I feel like it may be a little distracting from the rest of the suit. And I feel like the red could maybe be toned down a little bit or give it like a more subtle tone. Like I think this was the opposite of the other ones. I think this one actually has too bright of color and it could be toned down a little bit just to not be as shocking to the viewer. But that's not bad. You got Hemera over here. All right. So I'm not crazy about the legs. It was from like the last person who was using it. I'm not crazy about them. I know it's an older material, but I do like how they use the chest with the sash. I think that's a really good combo. I feel like if you had better legs, I think it would be like a knockout. I think it would be really good. I think even though this chest is an old style, I feel like it goes really good with the sash. Like I would lean heavily on that sort of aesthetic. I think would work out really nicely in their favor. They're all using like the same like skin style, which I like. I think it's Spellbound's like a really good style for like chest stuff. Then you got Hades over here. Let's take a look at him. Like I think it was smart that he kind of leaned into like the black. I think he's definitely one of my more favorites now that I'm looking. Like, you know, he's not going too crazy on the bracers because he doesn't want the bracer to be too high and kind of mess with the cloak. He's going, kind of going for something that's kind of, like you got the one side that's higher than the other. You've got the trigonic belt. I kind of like this. I like that it's all dark and void, and your contrast is the bright blue from the crown. The hairstyle's not a bad choice. Maybe I would use like a different material on the hair and beard so that it has contrast to the legs and the back style, so that they don't morph in together. I think you should just do a very slight different material or something to show that there's a difference. But I think overall, I think he's kind of leaning in the right direction. I think he's one of more or less the favorites that I'm looking at here right now. And then, of course, then you have Kronos over here. Let's take a look at him. So I like that he's using the Phoenix, also a very, very good material. He's using Void. He's kind of leaning into that so he doesn't have to worry about like the, kind of making this make sense sort of a thing. You can cover up the details. It doesn't really, matter. I like how they're using the bracers with like the skin. It works really well. Great symmetry. Like this sits right over, where they have the lines and the runes. And then you've got the head style going on here. So I think that's cool. Of course, you got the Nimbus on. That's a great aura to have on as well. The crown, I don't know. I could take or leave it. Same with the back style. I'm not crazy about it. If you're Kronos, I figure maybe you'd have something either going on that's crazier with the blade or something that's more mystical on your back, since you're literally an ancient titan. Somebody said there was another Poseidon here, so I'm going to look at him quick, and then I'm going to go right into... Oh, okay. So I'll judge on these guys here real quick. So my favorite, I would have to say, let me get to him. My favorite out of all these would have to be Hades. To me, I think it wasn't even really close. I think the only one that came close to him was like Kronos. And I feel like the aesthetic is just very pleasing to look at this character. So for me, he's like the clear-cut winner of this pantheon. Let me switch to the other pantheon here, and we'll take a look here, okay? So we've got this Poseidon over here. So you see him going on here. If I had to choose between the two Poseidons, it would 100% be the other one. It would be the OG, I guess you would say. So I'm going to grant it to him. Let me see if I could find him. Yeah, this Poseidon to me, even though I had, like a few critiques on it, overall I think he's better out of the two. So I'm going to keep to my word. There we go. Man of my word, I will keep to it. And so then you've got Zeus over here. Let's see here. So I actually like the aesthetic of this. It's not bad. I kind of like the aesthetic of it. I feel like the only thing is I feel like there's too much Phoenix going on here. I kind of feel like the back style probably should have been like the cosmic material. I would have done that so that you have a little bit of a contrast between the bracer and the cape. I feel like there's too much going on here. You're literally losing the aesthetic of the bracer because your cape's the same material. I feel like maybe you could make a different hairstyle. I would use a different hairstyle for a Zeus. That's probably the route I would go. And then you've got Hades over here. It's not bad. I feel like the Cosmic's really nice, but I think it would probably be best if it was on like accessories or something. I feel like having the Cosmic blacked out, you lose a lot of good detail. And to be honest, to me this looks more like Zeus if you were to make this more white than like Hades. I feel like Hades is a little more subdued and is more of like, I don't know. I feel like he doesn't have this like imposing feature. Like I would expect this from like Zeus. I feel like it's a little too armored up for Hades. And then we've got Hera over here. So I don't know too much. Maybe this is from like a show or something, but I'm not too crazy about it. Maybe they're trying to show like the ever watchful eye of Hera, because she is quite the conniving queen of the gods. So You know, her conniving nature of being able to see everything that she wants to see and keep tabs on people and whatnot. This isn't bad. I'm not too crazy about it, but I like the choice of like hairstyle. They're using like traditional Amazonian styles. A little bit of clipping here. Maybe I would use like a different hand style or maybe different chest style. We looked at Queen Diane earlier. I think we looked at Troy. Okay, yeah, we've seen Troy in the past. It's not a bad style. And we've already looked at Nyx. So out of these, I would have to say I really like Nyx. I think Nyx is my favorite out of that. Just because I feel like it's done very tastefully, and that's kind of my favorite there. It's just very classic. I see that they changed their material. I mean, they changed their aura. To be perfectly honest, I mean, I like this, but I think their corrupted aura was good too. I don't think they necessarily needed to change it. I think it was good just the way it was. Alright, so let me catch up on chat because everybody's going crazy. Yeah, it's basically everybody's talking about the Greeks, so we made it we're comparing Greeks upon Greeks. So I don't know if I'm gonna scroll all the way back. I'm not gonna scroll all the way back, but let me see here. Ned says they are trying too hard like Grecian don't even need to try to look good. The Greeks aren't too bad. They are, like I said, bro, they look horrible. The Hera looked like Ebon from that other episode. You didn't rate Uranus or Demeter. Yeah, Nyx definitely is the best of the Greeks. Nyx propaganda looks horrible, OMG. I'm comparing them against each other. Styles are highly subjective, but that's kind of where I place them, and that's comparing them against each other. You know, that's me comparing them against each other. If I had to choose a best, that's what I chose. I didn't see Demeter earlier. She wasn't in the in the lineup. But let's take a look. And I did look at Oceanus. Like I think this is a pretty good style. I actually like this one. Not gonna lie. Low cap. This is actually pretty nice. And I think they did the legs justice, which I'm not even really crazy about those legs, but I think they did a good job, and I think the waist style was pretty good because they used the enhanced version, so it's got like a little kind of like flowers going on it. So I think this one isn't bad. But comparing the Greeks against each other, those are kind of what I picked. If I had to choose, that's what I did. I chose what I had to choose out of them. But I feel like the Greeks should start off with like togas, and you should try to build up from there and make like slight alterations. But I don't think you should lose track of, you know, what Grecians actually wore or trying to get something close to them. I feel like people get too caught up on, you know, adding so many flashy things that, you know, like the Greek gods, a lot of them were, you know, the appearances of them were more thought to be very simplistic. Which I think people go a little overboard on the accessories and things for it. You know, so that's how I kind of see it. Greeks or Grecian, I would have to say the Greeks are slightly better, and I say ever so slightly. And it's only because one or two members were better, not because collectively they were better. I feel like two of the members of the Greeks were slightly better just because they had two better members out of the crew that dressed better. But to me, that's not saying much. That's like comparing like I don't know. I don't want to place an actual score, but it's like placing like a you know, like a number and a half versus the next whole number above it. You know what I mean? Like it's ever so slight. That's how I see it. But if I was making Greek styles, you know, I think I would go in a whole total different direction. I mean, you guys have seen my Grecian styles in my videos. I go a little hardcore, but I think of what's practical, and I try to, you know, make a different appearance on it. Maybe that's something you don't quite expect, but something that's still a little true to like the legends of Zeus and all that. But I know everybody's gonna disagree on certain things, and I try to not go too hard on people because I understand, you know, like I have OCD in certain areas that other people may not have. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of run it. No way he just said they call looked bad out of one and picked them. Hey, I picked what I picked what I picked. You guys wanted to hear it. I picked what I picked. And Ned says the Greeks look better too because they're better, but all the members were Grecian. Collectively, all the members of Grecian were better, but I would rather have two better members that look better than a whole slew that were kind of on the, you know, medium, like average side. That's how I kind of see it. I'd rather have two, you know, I'd rather have individuals than a whole group that's kind of, you know, average. That's how I see it. Oh, okay, nice, cool. Let me do a hey. Yeah, I was zoomed in. Nice nice thrag you got going on there. Yeah, I'm just spacing out reading here. Rage Provoker says togas and some armor, mainly a shoulder pad and bracers for Greek gods war. Yeah, not, like a lot of like these big like feathers and like the big crowns and all the big stuff that you see is not often what they wore. But I'm like, if you're gonna go in that direction, like things like materials gotta be on point. The cloth got to be on point. The materials got to be on point. Like, it's got to be something cool. But I feel like, you know, I just feel like it wasn't, you know, quite like that. Can we see you make a Greek style? I have made Greek styles in a lot of my videos. In like the different like just like average like random style videos. You'll see them in there. Just go ahead and watch my content, or you can look at like the I think a lot of those videos I had like chapters put in, so you could just look at the chapters and you'll see them. But yeah, I got a lot of them going on there. It says they wore full body Phoenix. I think Phoenix is one of those materials where it can be massively overdone if you don't take a step back and realize, hey, you know, this is a little much. You have to have control with Phoenix. You can't be just throwing it on everything and then expecting it to look good. It doesn't work that way. People go way overboard with that. Ray says, I'm the Carnage and back, by the way. Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, I see you. All rights reserved. Nice. No, Iconic, none of your outfits charted. Yeah, it should be in the channel. You could see it at some point. You'll see it. But it's in a bunch of the different videos. You can't miss them. But yeah, so there you go. The Grecians versus the Greeks, apparently. So there you go. I appreciate you all for hanging out, and I think that concludes this live stream today. I appreciate you all hanging out with me today. And I guess making two impromptu contests, I guess, right? So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday and weekend as we gear up for the new week. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Laters.